Now, at least 35 people have been injured after severe turbulence on an Air Canada flight, which was forced to make an emergency landing. The Boeing 777 aircraft from Vancouver to Sydney hit trouble around 2 hours beyond Hawaii and diverted back to the capital, Honolulu. The aircraft was carrying 269 passengers and 15 crew members. Well, let's speak now to Professor Paul Williams, who's a specialist in atmospheric science in the Department of Meteorology at Reading University. And this is a story which has been getting a lot of hits on our website. It sort of fills people with horror. What do we know about the kind of turbulence that seemed to come out of nowhere and affected this particular plane?
Yes, well, a fear of flying is very common, actually, and psychologists have a name for it, aviophobia, maybe affecting 20 or 30% of the population. So I'm not surprised at all at the public interest in this turbulence encounter. And of course, we all fly these days, and we've all encountered turbulence. The airline is saying that this particular encounter was clear air turbulence, and if that's true, then it would have been completely invisible. Not to be seen out of the cockpit window. The radar on board would not have picked it up, and it would have literally come out of the blue. When the seatbelt sign was off, people were moving around inside the cabin.
So how does that differ to the normal, if you call it that, turbulence, which has us all being told, sit down, come out of the toilets, put your seatbelt on?
Well, if that's turbulence associated with storms and clouds, then at least you can see the clouds out of the window. The pilots can see the clouds, and the radar pick up the clouds as well. So there is a bit of a warning then. And that kind of turbulence tends not to injure people because the seatbelt sign goes on, and that's virtually a guarantee of safety. But this invisible kind, especially if it's not forecast ahead of time, and there are forecasts, but they're not perfect, then it really can be quite hazardous, and the injuries that we've seen in the past 24 hours are testament to that.
Many people, of course, clicking on this because it worries them. They think, is this going to happen when I'm on a flight? How common is clear air turbulence?
It's pretty rare. We think less than 1% of the atmosphere at about 35,000 feet has moderately strong turbulence in it. So the chance of your particular flight, maybe if you're going to the airport later today, you're very unlikely to encounter severe clear air turbulence. But add that up over all of the planes that are flying in the sky at any time, and sooner or later someone will fall victim to this. And of course we think climate change is going to cause it to become a lot stronger and a lot more frequent in future. So I think we'll see more episodes like this unless we take some sort of action to try and stop it.
Oh, that's very interesting. And I guess the scientists, though, if they think this may increase, will be looking at better ways to forecast turbulence.
That's one of the priority areas. I think there are three things we can do. We can try and better forecast that turbulence, and in the same way that there are weather forecasts, there are specialised aircraft turbulence forecasts, and they're getting better all of the time. We could perhaps just stop changing the climate in the first place, and that would stop driving up the changes to the jet stream that are causing the increase. And we could also invest potentially in technology to detect this invisible turbulence. In fact, it already exists today, but it's not being used because it's too expensive, and we really need more research to bring the costs of that technology down so that the pilot can see this invisible turbulence. And then clear air turbulence encounters could be confined to the history bins, actually. That could be a real game changer if the technology advances in the way that I hope it will.
Lots to think about there. Professor Paul Williams from the University of Reading, thank you very much.